Welcome to today's deep dive into one of the strangest and most mysterious works of modern American theater, Tiny Alice, written by Edward Albee in 1964. Best known for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Albee shocked audiences once again with this surreal play, one that blends faith, sexuality, and the absurd. When it premiered, Tiny Alice left critics scratching their heads, audiences whispering in confusion, and theater scholars debating its meaning for decades. Today we'll walk through the story act by act, uncover its themes, and try to answer the big question: what does Tiny Alice really mean? Background and context. Edward Albee was part of the 1960s wave of American playwrights inspired by existentialism and the theater of the absurd. Like Samuel Beckett and Jean Genet, he was interested not in realism, but in how language and performance could expose the strangeness of human existence. In Tiny Alice, Albee builds a play that looks like a religious allegory but feels like a hallucination. At its center is the mysterious figure of Miss Alice, a wealthy widow who offers the Catholic Church an enormous donation. But her gift is not charity, it's a test, a trap, or perhaps something even more disturbing. Act 1 summary. The play begins in the garden of a church-owned estate. A man called Lawyer speaks nonsense to two cardinals, actual birds, before the church's real cardinal enters. The cardinal and Lawyer trade insults, revisiting their old-school rivalry. Their bitterness quickly gives way to business. Miss Alice, Lawyer's employer, plans to donate a staggering sum, $2 billion in an unnamed currency, to the church. Excited by this generosity, the cardinal sends his secretary, Julian, to live at Miss Alice's estate and finalize the deal. When Julian arrives, he meets Butler, the estate's servant, who shows him the mansion's strangest feature, an enormous 18-foot model of the house itself. A house within a house, filled with rooms and miniature furniture. Butler asks Julian if anyone might be living inside the replica. Julian insists there isn't, but the question plants unease in his mind. Lawyer soon arrives and confronts Julian with his past. Julian admits that years ago he had a crisis of faith, doubted God, and even checked himself into a mental hospital. He says that he regained his faith by treating belief as a kind of sanity. His confession unsettles the audience as much as it intrigues Miss Alice, who is about to enter. When Julian finally meets her, she appears at first as an old woman in a wig and mask. Then, with a dramatic flourish, she peels away the disguise to reveal herself as a beautiful young woman. Her entrance sets the tone. Nothing in this house is what it seems. Act 2 summary. Act 2 begins in chaos. Miss Alice and Lawyer argue bitterly. Lawyer suspects she is falling for Julian and is furious that Julian has stayed so long. He accuses her of seducing the young secretary. Their shouting match escalates, but even in her hatred, Miss Alice allows Lawyer to touch her sexually, blurring the lines between passion and disgust. Meanwhile, Julian and Butler rush to the mansion model, only to discover it on fire. Through a window they glimpse the chapel in flames as well. They frantically try to save it. Strangely, Miss Alice's prayer seems to halt the destruction, leaving everyone questioning what just happened. Was it a miracle or an illusion? Later, Butler and Lawyer stage a bizarre role play, pretending to be Cardinal and Lawyer negotiating the donation. Their conversation collapses into absurd philosophical arguments about God, suggesting that belief itself might be just another performance. In the final scene of the act, Miss Alice turns her full attention to Julian. She mocks his sexual innocence, then suddenly grows serious and admits her attraction. She proposes marriage. Julian, torn between faith and desire, agrees. Act 3 summary. The final act opens after their wedding, but instead of joy, Julian feels dread. He tells Miss Alice that he is not ready, that he wants to leave, even to return to the hospital. Miss Alice responds with a chilling revelation. He has not married her. He has married Alice, a mysterious other presence whom she merely represents. Before Julian can escape, Lawyer shoots him. Bleeding and near death, Julian finally gives himself over to the figure of Alice, not Miss Alice herself, but a mannequin dressed as the old woman he first met, wearing her wig and mask. In his delirium, Julian accepts the mannequin as God. He spreads his arms like a crucifix and dies. A martyr to a faith that may have been nothing more than madness. Themes and analysis. What does it all mean? Albee never gave a single answer, and that is precisely the point. Religion and illusion. The mansion within a mansion, the mannequin Alice, and the play acting all suggest that belief might be nothing more than elaborate layers of illusion, power and corruption. Miss Alice's gift is really control, showing how wealth can bend even the church to its will. Sexuality and faith. From Julian's vision of the Virgin Mary to Miss Alice's seduction, the play blurs the line between spiritual devotion and physical desire. Existential absurdity. Julian's final acceptance of the mannequin as God raises the question, do we choose our gods arbitrarily, simply because we need something to believe in? In the end, Tiny Alice offers no comfort. It leaves us in the unsettling space between faith and doubt, meaning and madness. Edward Albee's Tiny Alice is not a play of answers, but of questions. Its strange imagery, burning chapels, miniature mansions, masks and mannequins, forces us to confront our deepest anxieties about belief, power and desire. More than 60 years later, it remains one of Albee's most challenging works, daring us to ask, who or what is the God we really worship? If you enjoyed this deep dive into literature and theater, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more explorations of classic plays and hidden masterpieces. End slate and credits. List stock sources, narrator, music licensing, and archival credits.